You finally decide to leave Windows for an alternative, and immediately you're pulled in 3 distinct directions: Ubuntu, Linux Mint, or Zorin OS. The standard advice is to look at a few desktop screenshots, read a couple of forum posts, and pick the one that looks the prettiest. That is a reliable way to make a very frustrating mistake. Choose based on looks alone, and you might install an operating system that chokes your older laptop to a halt, or one that forces software updates in the background while you are trying to work. Making the right decision starts with the technical reality shared by all 3. Ubuntu, Linux Mint, and Zorin OS are built on the exact same foundational code. They share the exact same long-term support base. That means terminal commands are identical, system stability is identical, gaming performance is identical. The ecosystem starts in a central circle, the Ubuntu LTS base. From there, it splits into 3 directions. Ubuntu drives corporate integration. Zorin OS focuses on a guided, polished experience. And Linux Mint prioritizes grassroots privacy and absolute user control. Because they all run the same basic software, your decision rests on which philosophy aligns with your hardware, your technical comfort, and your values. The most immediate differentiator is the desktop interface. How it looks out of the box dictates your daily workflow and exactly how steep your learning curve will be. Ubuntu uses the Genome 50 desktop. It features an always-on dock on the left, a premium color scheme, and fluid animations. It operates a lot like a smartphone, highly visual, button-driven, and focused on an app overview screen. Because it functions so differently from a traditional desktop, migrating straight from Windows to Ubuntu requires you to relearn your muscle memory. If you expect a standard start menu and taskbar, Genome can feel alien. Linux Mint takes the opposite approach. Its Cinnamon desktop is deliberately engineered to mimic a classic Windows 7 or Windows 10 layout. You get a bottom taskbar, a recognizable start menu, a system tray, and desktop icons exactly where you left them. The trade-off with Mint is aesthetic. You get immediate, comfortable familiarity with zero learning curve, but you miss out on the sleek, modern polish of its competitors. It looks and feels highly traditional. Zorin OS answers this with a built-in appearance tool. With a single click, the entire operating system instantly reorganizes its layout to perfectly mimic Windows, or a Mac, or a clean minimalist desktop. But Zorin places limits on that flexibility. While the base layouts are free, the Mac OS layout and the highest levels of visual polish are locked behind a commercial paywall in their Pro Edition. Your interface decision is a strict compromise. You either choose immediate Windows familiarity with Mint and Zorin, or you commit to learning Ubuntu's highly efficient but foreign workflow. Underneath the desktop UI is an invisible, philosophical battleground. The way these operating systems deliver software to your machine determines your privacy and your control. Ubuntu and Zorin OS default to canonical Snap package system. Snaps are containerized, universal software packages distributed directly from a centralized store. When you use Snaps, you get guaranteed access to official, proprietary apps from massive corporations like Microsoft, Google, and Spotify. You also get seamless, automatic updates in the background. But Canonical maintains total control over the Snap backend. These background updates are forced. You might have your web browser restart mid-session. And because of how they are packaged, Snaps consume significantly heavier disk space. Linux Mint aggressively rejects this. Their development team completely strips Canonical's Snap infrastructure out of the operating system. They also remove background error reporting services that send telemetry data back to Ubuntu servers. This comparison matrix illustrates the core divide in software delivery. Canonical Snaps lean heavily into vendor integration, while Mint embraces Flatpaks and the traditional community approach. By utilizing Flatpaks, Linux Mint ensures the backend remains entirely open source. You decide exactly when an application updates, and your usage data stays firmly on your local hard drive. The cost of that privacy is relying heavily on community-maintained packages. You often download an app packaged by an independent volunteer rather than the official corporate software vendor. Ultimately, your stance on software packaging decides who actually owns your system's schedule and data, the corporation providing the software or you. While philosophy matters, the physical reality of your machine often makes the choice for you. The age of your processor, your RAM, and your monitors will immediately disqualify certain distributions. This quadrant chart plots the operating systems based on their hardware demands. On the vertical axis, we have system resources like RAM, and on the horizontal axis, display technology, ranging from older monitors to modern 4K setups. Ubuntu sits firmly in the high-resource modern technology quadrant. Between the GNOME animations and the Snap architecture, it requires a modern processor and ideally 16 GB of RAM to run without stuttering. But that heavy footprint buys you the modern Wayland display server. If you run dual 4K monitors at different scale factors, or you need tightly integrated NVIDIA drivers, Ubuntu handles that flawlessly out of the box. Linux Mint drops into the low-resource quadrant. It idles at roughly half the RAM of Ubuntu. If you are trying to squeeze 5 more years of life out of an older laptop, Mint will keep it running fast and cool. However, Mint relies on the older X11 display server. Attempt to mix a 4K monitor with a standard 1080p screen, and the fractional scaling will feel clunky and look blurry. Zorin OS lands exactly in the middle. It balances the heavier visual flair of a modern UI with slightly better resource optimization than base Ubuntu. Prioritizing a visual aesthetic over the actual limits of your physical hardware guarantees a sluggish and frustrating experience. You have to match the software to the machine. Let's move away from abstract specifications and look at the real-world user. Based on your specific situation, there is a clear, definitive route to the correct operating system. This decision flowchart maps specific user profiles directly to the right distribution based on the trade-offs we've covered. If your hardware is from 2020 or older, or if you refuse to tolerate background telemetry and forced updates, your path leads directly to Linux Mint. The trade-off is accepting legacy monitor scaling and a highly traditional desktop interface in exchange for rock-solid stability and total control. If you're a developer, enterprise user, or running modern hardware with mixed displays and NVIDIA graphics, your path leads straight to Ubuntu. The trade-off is tolerating Canonical's Snap architecture and a heavier RAM footprint to get top-tier hardware support and a modern workflow. If you're migrating from Windows, have no desire to tinker with the terminal, and just want a familiar premium experience, you choose Zorin OS. The trade-off is accepting a slightly commercialized ecosystem and base-level telemetry in exchange for a guided, hand-holding experience. Long-term success on Linux depends on an honest assessment of your hardware, your technical skill, and your privacy values, and matching them to the ecosystem built to support those specific needs.